Okay, what I'm trying to do here is trying to illustrate how these balancing coils work. You'll notice this, I can move this back and forth like that. And each one of these will go up. It's on a little bit of a spring there. And it pivots like that. Okay, this is a steel piece here, and it's drawn into either of the coils. Here's one coil here, and there's one coil here. I'm going to turn this upside down so you can see it from the other side. Okay, this is a view from the other side, and you can see these little things will come up in there. They'll move up as the coils are energized. A little closer there. Okay, you can see that'll move up. If this coil on this side has more power coming through it than the one on the other side right there, then the pivot will go down. If it's the other way, this one goes up. So whichever one of these has the most power in it is going to pull that armature its way. And when it does that, you'll notice the switch. So every time it's out of balance, the switch is closed one way or the other. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and power this thing up and we'll watch it run. Okay, I did not have a Series 80 thermostat, so I used just using a pot. And it's a lineal pot. The Series 80 thermostat changed its resistance with the temperature. Well, I'm going to imitate that with this little pot. Now right now, nothing's happening. And we'll go up and we'll take a look at the balancing relays. Now I'm going to adjust this pot. If you look, you can see. Let me see if I can get this to do it again. You can see by the wrench there that it's moving. Okay, it's balanced out again. So what we're doing is we're balancing the resistance of the thermostat with a resistance we have right there. Now this moves as the machine moves. And I'll show you that thing a little closer. Let's get it going the other way. Now you can see that little lever moving slowly up, and I'll get you a close-up on that on another view. Now it's balanced out again. My thermostat that I'm imitating right there changes its temperature, which changes its resistance that puts the coils here out of balance. Because this right here, this resistance here is say a certain amount. Well, once I change this one to where it isn't the same resistance as this, then these get out of balance. And so they will move. Well, as they move, this little lever moves up and down on the on that little resistor, and when the two resistances are the same, then this balances out because these coils have the same magnetic pull. So let's see if we can do it again. If you watch real close, I'll put that closer so you can. Okay, you can see those contacts there. And as I start to move this, you can see I'm moving that little resistor now, and it starts. And you can see the wrench moving. Okay, it's balanced out again. Now if I go the other way on the resistor, you can see that set of contacts move. Now it's going the other way. You can see the wrench is moving up the opposite way. So what we're doing is we're balancing the amount of magnetism. Let's back up a little. We're balancing the amount of magnetism between here and here, which of course is moving this thing back and forth. And that's how we can get partial movements. See, a mod motor never moves more than a complete turn. They don't usually go that much. They go maybe 160 degrees, something like that. But by balancing those two resistances, that's where we get to the point we want. In the case of this one, we are, can't hardly see it, but we're using a valve down here for water. And let's say the thermostat that I was using, that I'm imitating with that little pot, if I measured the temperature coming out of this valve and it was too hot, then the temperature probe would read that, or the thermostat would read that, change its resistance, and these coils would get out of balance, and it'll move the linkage. It rotates around, moves the linkage until you get the right temperature and it balances out. That's pretty much how they work. Okay, what I wanted to do is put a little side-by-side up here. Now this is a simplified diagram of what we were just looking at. The two coils you can see. On the left you can see the resistor. On the right, the thermostat. On the top there's a motor. And you can see the set of contacts, the movable contacts in the center, and the two contacts for the motor. And if it goes to one side, it'll push the motor, clockwise, and if it goes to the other side, it'll push counterclockwise. So if I change the thermostat, then this resistance is going to be different because that arrow is going to move somewhere else on the resistor, and that's going to make the two out of balance. So one or the other of those coils will overcome and pull the armature in and start moving the resistor on the left to match what the thermostat resistance is at that time. Just a very simple little diagram. It's more complicated than that. There's AND switches in it, and there's all kinds of stuff like that. And the resistors aren't really made just this way. They are wired a little differently in this. But I wanted a simplified diagram so that it would be pretty basic that you could understand. So this is what these things are about. I'm going to talk about new ones later. We'll take some of those apart, and we'll talk more about how the valves work and so on.